Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Summer Night, Class 1702. We are extremely honored to have with us tonight several distinguished guests. I'd like to take the time to recognize the 14th Flying Training Wing Commander, Colonel Douglas Gosney, and his wife, Beth. The 14th Flying Training Wing Vice Commander, Colonel Jay Fisher, and his wife, Marla. The 14th Flying Training Wing Chief Master Sergeant Jonathan Hobert, and his wife, Christy. The Deputy Commander, 14th Operations Group, Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Allison, and his wife, Carol. The Commander, 14th Mission Support Group, Colonel Anthony Sansano. And the Commander, 14th Medical Group, Colonel Imelda Reed and her husband, Steve. Additionally, we'd like to give a special team blaze welcome to Colonel and Mrs. James. They are the guests of Lieutenant Josh James this evening. We're also pleased to welcome all other commanders and chiefs present. Finally, we'd like to welcome all friends and family visiting here tonight. Class 1702 is fortunate to enjoy the support of the local community and business leaders during their time here in pilot training. Class 1702's pilot partners are Bank Frisch, represented by Mr. Ralph Carter, and Zachary Grill. Before we introduce the class, they'd like to pay a special tribute to Second Lieutenant Ben Walder and show you this short video.
Previously, we caught multiple students attempting the mission plan for unauthorized flight after hours.
We've taken you behind the scenes of our previous sting operations.
You weren't trying to take this jet out for a flight, were you?
What are you doing here? Catching you in the act.
Going somewhere?
Shut it off!
Tonight, we show you the story of Lieutenant Jake Ray. He's married, has a dog, and proudly rents his house in Catholic. He goes by the screen name Midnight Aviator 48. He thinks he's coming here tonight to plan for a mission to take the T1 out in what he calls a joyride. However, our team's prepared and has another surprise for him.
We have confirmation he's here. Alright, let's do this.
Excuse me, Lieutenant Grant. Right there. You know who I am? I'm from Flyby. Let's take a seat up.
Alright, so I'm not quite sure what you're doing in the squad right now. You want to explain yourself?
I'm here to run checklists.
Okay, so you are past the nap check and you came in on a Tuesday evening to run checklist. What are you doing with the pub facts?
There's no pubs in there.
There's no pubs in there, really? Okay. Did you bring any coal tonight?
I don't run coal, per se. In fact, I've never ran toll. There's a shared folder with all of the toll. You're not going to find any toll on me.
Square with me. Did you bring fuel plans?
I did.
These are very in-depth fuel plans, and you were not planning on using these tonight.
This is the point in the conversation where things got interesting. Lieutenant Graham proceeded to send out 12 pictures of himself when he was a previous civilian flight instructor.
Is that even your real hair? You are Midnight Aviator 48, aren't you?
I've been using that screen name for about 4 months now.
And it gets scary as he's lied about how many flight hours he has. We have transcripts saying, I've got over 1,000 hours. This will be nothing for me. You are in good hands. Laugh out loud.
It just seems you were planning on doing prohibited maneuvers. Yeah, let's do some loops and rolls. Do you know the age of this aircraft, Lieutenant Graham?
I don't know how old it is.
This is a 40-year-old aircraft, and you think you're going to be taking it out for this?
I have a problem.
10 minutes into the conversation now, and Lieutenant Graham states, are there enough cords on those tires for a few more touch and goes?
This might be just a single night joyride for you, but think about the possible long-term structural damage you could do to this poor aircraft.
I've never done this before.
You, sir, are every maintainer's worst nightmare. You're free to go.
Good evening. Welcome to the Aviatorette. Tonight, Captain Hewitt will be deciding what 2 student pilots she wants to continue flying with on this journey. We started off with 12, and now we're down to 8 lucky contestants who have been flying with Captain Hewitt all year. Tonight, she will be giving 2 of them of all 14.
It's been a really hard decision. I've loved flying with every one of you guys. I've made my choice for my final 2. Lieutenant Mahalik, I really appreciate a pilot who can handle the aircraft. Will you accept the call
Only 1 all 14 left.
This next person, I feel like I really shared a connection with on the flights, and I think can really handle the Columbus 3 departure with me. Lieutenant,
Para mí, pero los gomitos y los tacos no lo
Sorry about that. As you can see, emotions are running high.
the person that I would like to fly with, Lieutenant Jensen. Of course I will!
Lieutenant Howard, tell us, why do you think you got chosen?
Why? You seen these arms? I was from the choir.
I called her around, but then she also called her around, so I knew that we really had a connection in the jet.
Honestly, I just wanted to fly 3 days anyway.
I'm very impressed the first week. I planned west, I wanted barbecue. She wanted south, she wanted seafood. You just don't mix those 2 types of people.
Yeah, I'm more Ball 21 guy myself. I think I had some mixed signals lately. I got one last time, but Trick got all the Columbus pages, so I don't know. I just think it wasn't going to work out.
¿Hablas inglés? No. How are you feeling about not being about 14?
Back in the shadow when I was a nav, all those pilots looked really good, so I have pretty high standards.
It's been a thrilling night here on the Aviatorette. Join us next week to see who Captain Hewitt will give her entire cub bag to and choose to fly with for the rest of her condensed syllabus.
Drop that? For sure!
Listen now to the night's ROE. Report in military fashion. Take your roast like an adult. Do a firm handshake to Chris Salute. And celebrate with your class and loved ones. And finally, no whining or arguing. Let's get it going. here to be your guest roast master for the night. Since you're too cool for school, or drinking beer for that matter, hopefully the hard cider in that mug is taking the edge off from you failing your damn check ride. Someone told me you only drank 2 energy drinks today, so I'm not sure if you'll be able to stay awake through this roast. Too bad that extra caffeine didn't give you a boost when you're in the block nav ride. You know, the one where you dozed off at the controls and attempted to roll the aircraft in orbit. But congratulations, you attempted one of only 3 prohibited maneuvers in the T1. Normally, that would cause a student to be put on flying CAFB. But luckily for you, that did not happen. But only because you were already on it. Schooler is known for being full of great ideas. Like when he told the squadron commander, he wants students to have additional T1 flights to watch other students and to learn the T1 pictures. True story! You know, it's not a terrible idea if we had additional seats. But we don't have additional seats. So when asked where this hypothetical student would sit, he suggested at the back of the airplane on the toilet. Or the time he's in T6s, when he got scared of a single wispy cloud and panically reported, "Center! Center! There are clouds everywhere!" Thus promptly forcing 6 of his fellow students on their solo rides to come home early. Good job, Schooler. Spoiler alert, there were absolutely no clouds. So Schooler, in what aircraft will you be exceeding the aircraft limitations and learning pictures from the lavatory next? Captain Johnson, are you awake right now?
Wide awake.
Do you feel up for this roast?
Check.
Did you even get enough sleep last night?
Check.
We weren't sure if you wanted to cancel drop night last night like you do on your sorties, throwing your classmates under the bus and forcing them to fly in your place.
Once.
Fortunately, you have an alibi for hooking 2 rides in a row for the exact same thing. Most likely because you're super old and your eyes don't work anymore. Seeing legend go around for Captain Johnson's nemesis during the transition phase in the T1. But we will give you the benefit of the doubt and blame it on your diminished mental capacity in your old age. You're probably the only individual who has gotten airsick in the T1, so here, if you feel like throwing up, oh wait, you already did that coming back home from your cross country at Gulfport. At least you saved the almonds in your flight bag.
That's it.
So Captain Johnson, what aircraft will you overrun out of because you're out of your flight because you're too sleepy and get sick in next?
Bruce. Well, whatever your real name is, let's be honest. Besides the check ride belt, you actually flew pretty well on the 38. The only thing holding you back is actually understanding what you're doing. On your first check ride, the evaluator pilot stopped by before the debrief and let us know that things went pretty well. Long story short, that went in an unstack the second you opened your mouth. Or how about EP quizzes? Those have been fun. Whenever I have to grade on yours, and yes, I say have to, I play a drinking game of how many you get right. And I have yet to get buzzed. And stand-ups, or what I call them for you, sit-downs. It's practically a Catholic mass how many times I make you stand up and you sit down. At least I felt somewhat comfortable sending you solo and having an EP. I knew you'd already be in your comfort zone, sitting down. It sounds like to me you could use a little more time at Columbus to work on your EP and shit. And your buddies tend to agree. I know they really appreciated how you debriefed their head tapes for them. So Steve, or Josh, which unfortunate flying training squadron is going to have to reteach you the basics of maintaining aircraft control and analyzing the situation here?
Lieutenant Graham, former Navy team instructor, and CFI who is so good at flying he consistently impresses IPs. Except, of course, when he was taxiing and overshot his parking spot, and an IP directed go-around was initiated. Is that even a grade sheet item? How do you even do that? How embarrassing is it that you can fly the airplane well, but hook a ride for not being able to taxi an aircraft? It's got to be all that Navy aviation training. It's a good thing your IPs like you, though, allows you get days off when you need them, especially when you helped your wife bring your new puppy to the vet to get neutered. Too bad you didn't realize she made the appointment for 2. Is that how you got the nickname Whips? Or is that from the day you took off from work for your birthday to get couples massages and pedicures with your wife? So, Lieutenant Graham, from what aircraft will you be overshooting your taxi spot and experiencing early onset stages of male pattern baldness in next? Lieutenant Mark Sniffles Galera. We're all surprised you're able to make it here in the building tonight. Someone saw you sneeze in the hallway earlier, and we all thought you might go to NIF and bail on time tonight. Regardless of how many times you go to NIF and your classmates get thrown in your place last minute, they still try to look out for you by helping you find a possible girlfriend. It has to be hard though when the only thing you ever flirt with is getting 2 dots slow on your approaches. With all the high-tech gizmos and gadgets you own, you think you'd be able to have success on Tinder. But, again, that won't work because you'll eventually have to talk to a girl. You're like the Filipino version of Raj from Big Bang Theory, except he's actually pretty smart, and you're just high maintenance. So, Lieutenant Galera, in what aircraft will you be shying away from girls and going to nip in every week next? Come on up, man. Lieutenant Eldridge, the comedian of Class 1702. Your lame jokes have never failed to raise your classmates' spirits in times of need. You know your jokes are bad when your wife encouraged you to take more deployments to Antarctica. You always seem to find the perfect time to insert a joke, like right after your buddy hooked his check ride. I'm sure that's just what he wanted to hear. How about that right in, huh? I guess that's why they call it Sin City. I'm sure you really appreciated that one, Eldridge. Speaking of check rides, we all want to know how a 7-level aircraft maintainer, who, for those of you who don't know, is an NCO who literally instructed on aircraft forms and maintenance, hooked his check ride for aircraft forms. I guess airplanes with skis don't need a thorough review of forms before flight. Your poise under pressure is reminiscent of your favorite Rex Ryan Coach football fiend. What are the Bills, 0-4 in Super Bowls? Alright, Lieutenant Eldridge, in what ski-equipped, snow-landing, penguin-steering aircraft will you be rattling off stupid jokes in next?
Lieutenant Steele has the nugget of a beat-up MMA fighter, the body of an old man, and the voice of a child. When you first meet him, you would assume that he's at least 40 and has been chain smoking for about 38 of those years. You have to work hard to get him to start talking, and then it becomes obvious why. That all changes when you get him in the aircraft and on the radio. Then he just won't stop blabbering. I would love to ask any of the controllers that he talks to over the radio to describe what they think Steele looks like, because I am confident that they would be way off. Based on his voice, I think they would assume he was a shy yet somewhat talkative 13-year-old girl trying to ask someone to the Sadie Hawkins dance. I had the pleasure, if you want to call it that, of getting to hear Lieutenant Steele on cross country. And he literally sounded something like this. So please stay with me, it's hard for me to do. Hello, arrival. This is Jimbo 43 calling. Jimbo 43, say request. Yeah, hi. I was wondering if maybe we could do some approaches together, fall back. I'm out to the east. I promise you'll have a good time. Seriously, Steele, you need to start pretending that you're Batman or something. It would really help your MMA look street cred. So, Steele, what ground controlled airframe will you be disregarding good radio discipline and making lengthy, soft-spoken requests in next?
Lieutenant Jensen, are you feeling okay this evening? Apparently at your T6 solo party, you had 5 shots of Jack and outdrank all of the bros in your flight. And your flight commander was still extremely worried about you. Looks like you're repeating as champion this evening. Lieutenant Jensen 2, class 17020. But we know there was one person more concerned than him, and that's Lieutenant Maynard. Apparently, y'all accidentally held hands during a T1 sim during a touch and go. I think Lieutenant Maynard took the term touch too literally when he was pushing up the throttles. You hate to see that. Hopefully your boyfriend isn't too jealous about that shared moment. Speaking of which, how does he feel about you having a bigger truck than him? Usually it's men who buy giant trucks to hide their insecurities. So what does that actually say about you? Granted, you do need a step stool to get in, and your feet barely touch the gas pedals. So, Lieutenant Jensen, in which aircraft will you drink your bros under the table, have inadvertent hand holding with your AC, and make your boyfriend jealous in next? Captain Hewlett, the SRO and fearless leader across 1702, otherwise known as MOM. It's actually an acronym that stands for Manager of Morons. You've always shown compassion and care for your class, but secretly, you're the most vulgar person in this room. Besides Lieutenant Howell, of course. Captain Hewlett actually thought she could give up cussing for Lent once. And that lasted all of about 4 hours. You must be so proud of your class and the great camaraderie they have together, but you never know because you're always out of town on the weekends and doing more important things than attending class functions. I do find it interesting that you're more willing to spend money on class accessories, but you don't feel the same about your appliances. Question of the day, what do the T6, your refrigerator, and your washer and dryer have in common? You haven't used them in over 6 months. You must feel pretty out of place when you need to go to the officer dorms and do your laundry. So, Captain Hewlett, what robot-based MC-130 will be mass ordering pasta meals from Amazon Prime in next?
going to get an assignment and get out of pilot training. Watching you go through phase 3 has been just about as entertaining as your alma mater, Mississippi State, football season. It started in the first few minutes of the first week with such high hopes, and then quickly developed into a massive dumpster fire. But really, there are two storylines for Lieutenant James. There's the inspirational one, that he's like Thomas the Train Engine, the little engine that could. Even though maybe he wasn't as gifted as Lieutenant Sturniolo, Lieutenant James showed that persistence, actually understanding GK, and a good attitude will get you through. Then there's the other storyline. I don't know who said it first, but you should never, ever trust someone who's got two first names. Josh James. Oh, how many times have we proven this to be true? Lieutenant James, are you going to pass this check ride? Lied to me thrice. Or how about across country when the controller was slammed and you promised that you would make good radio calls? 20 seconds later, the controller found time in her busy schedule to backhand you over the radio in your comments. Or perhaps his most infamous untrustworthy moment when your IP, whom I know and trust very much, pointed out traffic to you, confirmed that you had it in sight, then told you to avoid it on the descent. 30 seconds later, sir, is that the traffic off our nose? I have the aircraft. Classic Josh James. So, Lieutenant James, in what multi-engine, slow enough for you aircraft will you be trying to sneak a fast one by your crew and rely on someone else to clear between 10 and 2 minutes? Everybody here, everybody!
Now, Lieutenant Turk, I know you're Class 1702's resident quibbler. I know we discussed the ROEs earlier, but I want to go over them again in case, you're from Louisiana and I'm not sure if you knew how to read. Your IPs already know that you don't know how to listen. Just so you know, there will be no quibbling at the end of this roast. With that said, we're surprised you made it here tonight, since you usually guest bartend at CJ's on Friday nights. How did you even get off your shift tonight? Lieutenant Turk is also known for his creepy, squealy laugh and not taking UPT very seriously. Like that one Wednesday on your 88 formation ride in the P6, when you decided to request taxi clearance for 2 hump day camels. Enraging your IP and resulting in you almost hooking and going on milk-out. Or, that time Lieutenant Turk had much more important things to do than to be at work, and almost got his flight put back in the blues for complaining about being here 12 hours per day. Alright, Lieutenant Turk, what aircraft would you complaining about duty day and guest bartending at local pizza shops next? Captain Bourne, former West Point graduate and Army officer, is probably the most outgoing and energetic member of Class 1702. Hey, can I get you guys to keep it down the back for a second? Thanks. It is said that first impressions are everything. Well, Captain Bourne, you certainly made one. When you were reprimanded on day one by your class commander for improper wear of your blues, with a crew neck shirt, enlisted flight cap, and iron creases down the front of your short sleeve shirt. It's true that you not only told, but insisted the chief of Stanville that you'd be totally fine to land through a heavy aircraft of weight turbulence. You're the epitome of saying all thrust and no vector. If you were a band, you'd be called No Direction. You had to know your EPQs weren't going to go well when you spent time leading up to your exams reading novels. Well, I guess 5 out of 20 isn't that bad, right? Or doodling in stand-up. Or being on every kind of cab imaginable. Well, lesson learned. It's a good thing you can ride on the coattails of your wife's PhD the rest of your life. So, Captain Bourne, on what aircraft will be blowing off for additional duties and studying everything besides the required training documents in next. Lieutenant Urbino, it's a good thing this roast is less than 5 minutes long, otherwise you might not be able to stay awake. Just like the time you hooked your first ever ride in T1 when you fell asleep not even 5 minutes into the sortie.
Wake up, Coach! True story!
A direct quote from your grade sheet, I pulled it. Student fell asleep while occupying the jump seat 5 minutes into the sortie and failed to accomplish appropriate crew duties. 1. How do you hook your first ever ride? And 2, just so the audience knows, the appropriate crew duties in the T1 and the jump seat are literally to sit there. How do you mess that up? I guess not getting that T-38 you wanted must have been keeping you up at night. Or maybe it's the new girlfriend from another state you're always Skyping, but nobody's ever actually seen. Remember the time you stopped in Jackson's and ate Ichiban's entire sushi buffet and got students banned from going there? Yeah, apparently all you can eat actually has a limit and you did everything you could to push it. Alright, Lieutenant Urbino, what aircraft would be falling asleep on departure and getting banned from buffets in next?
It would seem that every class has that one kind of creepy guy. For 1702, it's on. There's just a little something that's a bit off anytime you see him. He just smirks at you while you walk by. Like, look at him right now. That's the one. It's like he knows he's about to get away with something. And I swear, watching during this, he doesn't blink. Furthermore, the fact that he's literally from the town in South Carolina where all of those clowns are in the woods trying to steal children does not help his case. Someone needs to cross-check the weekends that Harmon was unaccounted for with reports of nocturnal clown activity. Harmon, I'm just kidding. You're not super creepy, just a little bit. In fact, if you're anything, you're just incredibly, almost unbelievably average. Your average height and build, you went to Clemson, so you must be of average intellect. And your flying ability is the definition of average. Surprisingly, Harmon was one of 2 students in his class to not hook a check ride, but he also did not do anything impressive either. My favorite comment from his check ride grade sheet is, and I quote, average. Shaft the middle of the bell curve. The question now is, being average in today's Air Force good enough to get what you want? So, Lieutenant Harmon, let's find out in what aircraft you will be underwhelming and be voted most likely to fade into the background next.
Lieutenant Potts, one of 02's Token Academy grads. Currently being on the jump team at the Academy gives you zero preparation for UPT. Let's reminisce about the time at T6s where you forgot to buckle your harness and slammed the canopy when the IP leveled off. You'd think a guy who buckles himself into a parachute on a routine basis would remember to strap into his airplane. Or, what about those clutch landings where you felt the need to apologize to the crew before you landed the plane? Did you forget the T1 doesn't land like the CV-22? However, you are helping the local economy because Columbus has been able to employ more crew chiefs solely due to how many maintenance repairs you need after your sorties. Well, we can't give you too much of a hard time. After all, it must be hard going through UPT when your girlfriend, Lieutenant Jensen, is a better pilot than you. So, Lieutenant Potts, in which airplane will you be preemptively apologizing to your crew for your landings in next?
Don't believe it, just
Lieutenant Bailey, you're looking pretty fit tonight. You're looking pretty fit tonight. Do you even lift, bro? Alright. Not since EBT started you got lazy. Although you do brag about your fitness and workout to your flight mates, everyone knows you have a dark side. I did go and notice that while your wife was packing you paleo lunches over the last year, you were stuffing your pockets with whatever junk food you could find. Those gains you've been bragging about? Yeah man, they're not all muscle. Aside from your tendency to brag about workouts, well, on an extended cheat day, this lasted about 51 weeks now. Typical CrossFitter. Your classmates actually have a pretty hard time coming up with things to roast you on. After all, you don't get too drunk on the weekends, you're mostly mellow and relaxed, and you're a pretty good pilot. So good, in fact, that you thought you should take the aircraft in your IP during trans and show them how more maneuvers are actually done. So, Lieutenant Middlewick, what four-engine gas-fueled aircraft would be sneaking junk food in next?
Lieutenant Reagan is the only member of the 1702 T-38 drivers that isn't married. But no one here is surprised by that statement. The mustache had already sent that message clearly. He seems to always be complaining that there aren't enough opportunities to hang out with girls. But the fact is, he's just incapable of talking to someone he doesn't know. Even on Charleston cross country, with a flight full of literal and figurative wingmen, Riggins still logged a 0.0 conversing with anyone who didn't fly in with him. Riggins, here are a few steps you can take to improve your interpersonal relations. Number 1, clean that face up. 2, actually talk to someone and know texting doesn't count. And 3, if you do find a certain special someone that you might want to talk to, check to make sure that he or she is not going to be the inspiration for your class patch next time. Chances are that won't turn out well. But talking to people isn't Lieutenant Reagan's only issue. Moving his flats at the right time can be a little bit too complicated for him. Apparently it would seem that your problem is you just couldn't get them up, especially in a high-stress situation like your transition checkup. That's one way to make sure you hook in the first 15 seconds. So, Lieutenant Riggins, in what Columbus-based afterburner-equipped aircraft will you be trying to meet some ladies and forget how to accomplish basic takeoff procedures? I'll try to be gentle. Lieutenant Winkle, why don't we just sit there, get you a teddy bear and a nice block of cheese, and you can drift off to sleep and dream of 4 more years in the T1. Lieutenant Winkle is known for his immense technical knowledge of the T1 and for dozing off during almost all of academics. Apparently you think you're so smart you don't need to be awake for Houston either. It's okay though, you make up for it by writing bonus questions on every UPQ. But we all know what you're really trying to do. I've actually got something for you.
4 more years. Yet, you can't seem to remember to bring the parts of the jet, or even how to land for that matter. We all noticed something interesting in the forms. How do you come up with 4 patterns, but 15 landings? How does that even work? With that many bounces, it's a surprise that any jets still have landing gear. Also, having you making your IP passively airsick, telling them to man up. So, Lieutenant Winkle, in what white 2-engine trainer will you be writing nerdy bonus questions in next? Lieutenant Max Maynard, I don't even know where to start with you. Everyone knows you're super smart. Is it really necessary to shake your head up and down during shotgun questions every time you know the answer? Maybe your classmates could study better if you didn't obnoxiously chime your food in the flight room every time people are studying. Your decision-making skills are so good that you constantly call out your fellow students and override the IP from your throwing on the jump sheet. So much so, you even told an IP to go around when he was 1 knot fast crossing the threshold. We still find it hard to believe that you haven't been able to get a date. I heard your classmates found you the perfect girl. It's a shame she actually has standards. In fact, the only girl Lieutenant Maynard has had any sort of contact with over the last 12 months was Lieutenant Jensen, when he interlaced his hand with hers during the push-up of that touch and go during the sim. Question of the day. You and Lieutenant Galera walk into a bar. Who walks away with the girl's phone number?
Nobody!
That is correct, it's not here. So, what aircraft will you be obnoxiously eating and calling unnecessary go-arounds in next? Lieutenant Mertens, I'm glad you could make it this evening. We're hoping you wouldn't be still in the mission planning room bragging about your 30 different fuel plans that you made. Also, your classmates will just have to rerun them anyways because they're tired of booking their flights based on the ones you've created. Speaking of unstats, we still don't know how you passed your T6 formation check right after leading Lieutenant Graham directly out of the bottom of the MOA, followed by incorrectly, and saying and writing the boldface. We'd like to think that was all planned. Speaking of your daughter, it should be known that her and your wife are just straight up cooler than you are. They actually show up to class parties without you, while you stay at home to catch up on sleep. Your wife could packs you salads and mason jars for lunch every day, which you promptly eat and then go get burgers at the Burger Barn anyways. No wonder your dad bod has come in so well over the last 50 weeks. So, Lieutenant Mertens, what aircraft would be speaking Spanglish and rocking the dad bod in next?
Do you recall not long ago when you walked on the sidewalk?
Lieutenant Tremblay is a simple man. He's got two expressions. The first is a face that communicates that he's about as confused as a fart in a penny factory. He looks this way about 99% of the time. This happens to him because we're pretty sure his antenna doesn't pick up all the channels, if you know what I mean. But every now and again, there's a data surge and it affects his whole body. That's the second face that he gives. There's tons of examples of this in the past several months. He has lost sight in formation, pretty much the only thing we don't want you to do, on almost all of his flights. Personally, I think because he was distracted by all the pretty colors in the T-38. And Lieutenant Tremblay is known to practically hyperventilate and shake uncontrollably on takeoff. But can you imagine what this looks like to him? The poor guy probably thinks he's in some fourth or maybe in fifth dimension wormhole with all sorts of otherworldly things whizzing by him. Tremblay doesn't need an oxygen system in his next aircraft. A brown paper bag is the only thing that's going to keep him breathing. All right, Tremblay, try to stay focused for just a little bit longer, and let's find out where you'll be going blind and tripping your brain's surface next.
All right, last but not least, not only did you get a dog during EPT, but like Lieutenant Harmon, you also committed the unspoken sin of getting married during pilot training. But that wasn't so terrible, because much like the rest of your life with your dog, Morgan took care of pretty much all of it. How is it that someone who spends all day saving lives as an Air Force nurse also has the time to keep your life together? Maybe if you were good as her at multitasking, you'd have better luck at winning foosball games against your classmates. Your win record looks about as bad as your flight grade sheets. What about that call sign? Potato? Why is that your call sign? It's probably the same reason Morgan married you. Nobody actually knows, but someone's probably pretty drunk and it just kind of happened. So, Lieutenant Taylor, in what aircraft will your wife be keeping your life together and wearing your pants in next? 1702, tonight's bar stop is Lieutenant Ellington. Please join Class 1702 for the after party right here at the club. Thank you for coming. Please don't drink and drive, and before you go, Colonel Fisher has an announcement.
Hey, listen up. Listen up. Great assignment night. Listen, we got a safety concern. If you parked your car on Lowndes Avenue, which is the main entrance to Magnolia housing, the emergency vehicles cannot get through. We let you sit through the assignment night, but we need you to go and move those cars away or they will get towed.